Placemats, a creative podcast. My name is Devin, and this is where I document my knitting and other fiber-related crafting. Can you tell I almost forgot what I'm supposed to say there? You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry at @bdevin. You can also find my shop-related Instagram, which is at francofille, same name as the podcast. It's also the name of my Etsy shop where I sell hand-dyed yarn and knitting patterns. And you can also find the podcast group on Ravelry if you search francofille in the groups tab. I think that's all the pertinent information. It's been a couple weeks since my last episode. I've gotten a lot of knitting done since I last recorded, but life has gotten a little busy. Let's say busy. I was out of town for a week. I also took a social media vacation, and then just wasn't quite back into the swing of things last week in time to get a podcast recorded. So I'm recording now. I'm not gonna make any promises. We'll see what happens in terms of getting back on a regular schedule or not. My previous schedule of record Wednesday, try and get the episode out by Friday, I think was pushing it a little too much, but I don't know. It's hard trying to find the right time to record the episode, given that I want to be able to show you all of the yarn that I'm dyeing up for that week's shop update, right? Because who doesn't like looking at yarn? But it's kind of a short turnaround time, especially given that, I don't know, my tech is all getting rather old and slow. So actually editing and posting videos is taking a little bit longer than it used to. But whatever, I'm complaining for no reason. I'm trying to get on a schedule. We'll talk about that. Wow, lots of rambling. Hopefully I haven't already scared you away, but whatever. If you are a new viewer, sorry for the rambling. Please stick with me for just a little bit longer. Hopefully that'll give you a better idea of what the podcast is normally like. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for sticking with me. I really appreciate it. As you can see on the podcast rundown behind me, I've got a fair deal to talk about, including 4 finished objects that I don't think you've seen yet. I don't believe so anyway. I've got a couple whips to talk about. That's not actually all of the whips I've got going on right now, but in the interest of time, I figured I would spread them out between this week and my next episode. Plus some shop update stuff, including some new fall colorways and holiday miniskein sets. So lots of good stuff to talk about. I figure I'll do a little bit of blather at the end as well, kind of explaining where I disappeared to. I don't know, in the interest of full disclosure. We'll talk. Anyways, let's go ahead and just dive right in with some finished objects. So grab something to drink, grab your knitting, and let's get going. I have some water myself. Nothing interesting this week in terms of what I'm drinking or anything. No tea or anything. It's a little too warm out for tea yet. It is August. We are having a bit of a cold snap. It's been in the 60s and 70s, which I'm thrilled about, but I don't know. I'm trying to cut down on my caffeine intake as well. Just, I don't know. It's getting me a little too amped. I was having a hard time falling asleep, so just drink some more water instead. Anyway, finished objects. I've got 2 pairs of socks to show you. This first one I cast on at the beginning of July, and I finished up, I think, middle of last week, about a week ago now. That sounds right. And this is knit out of wool from West Yorkshire Spinners that I got online. I think it was from Webs. I could be wrong on that. And it is I want to say the Kingfisher colorway, right? It's a 4-ply sock weight. It's got a mix of BFL and other kind of wool, and there's nylon in it. So kind of a workhorse style sock yarn. I really love this style of self-striping yarn that West Yorkshire Spinners does with the alternating solid color stripe and these sort of pattern stripes. I don't know what else to really call them. But yeah, this is my second time working with West Yorkshire Spinners. Last summer I knit a pair of socks out of, I think it's the pheasant colorway, which I received in a swap with Mina from the Knitting Expat back when she was still living, I was going to say abroad, but she's still living abroad for her, right? She was living in, I think, Bahrain. That sounds right. But yeah, what to say about construction. Knit these on US 1.5s. 64 stitches, 2x2 ribbing. I knit them cuff down. And then I did a wedge toe instead of my now standard sideways toe. Since March, I've been doing primarily sideways toes instead of these wedge toes. They're almost the same, except it's rotated 90 degrees. But honestly, the reason I did a wedge toe here instead was I was knitting on them in a movie theater, and it was just easier to do a wedge toe because I didn't have stitch markers with me. I didn't want to bother counting. I wanted to be able to focus on the movie. And a wedge toe is really easy when you're doing magic loop because it's just, you know, knit one, decrease, knit all the way to the last 3 stitches, decrease, knit one, right? So nothing to really worry about or think about there. And then I did an afterthought heel that I cut in, and then did my, oh, what is it called? I don't remember the name of this afterthought heel. But basically what I do is I knit straight without any decreases for about 14 rounds or so, and then I just decrease every single row until I've got 12 stitches left, right? So it gives a little bit more fabric in that heel pocket. Yeah, I like the way it fits. So that's why I do my heels that way. And again, I did a cut in afterthought heel instead of one with scrap yarn because I was knitting them on the go and didn't have any scrap yarn on me. So yeah, really like how these turned out. I really, really enjoy the colorway. Yeah, I think these are gonna get a lot of good wear. The other pair of of socks that I finished up is out of my own hand-dyed yarn, right? This is my chaussette base in the Liberté or Liberty colorway that I dyed up kind of special for July. Yeah, so it's a fun colorway. I think it's all sold out now. Yes, it is. But yeah, I really enjoy the micro striping. So you can see it basically alternates a row of navy and a row of red and white speckles. And I don't know, I just really, really enjoy the way that works up. I really like these micro striping colorways for socks. Especially for vanilla socks, I think they just are so much fun. And yeah, same basic construction. Believe I knit these toe up. I should have actually read through notes and stuff before I sat down to podcast, shouldn't I? Oops. Believe that these were toe up. That sounds right. Yes, I know they were now. Now I'm remembering my life. These were in fact knit toe up because I cast these on when I was done with the first sock of this and I was in a meeting or at a luncheon or something like that and couldn't remember exactly how to do a toe up cast on without having to look it up because it's not my normal way of knitting socks, right? I'm very much a cuff down sock knitter, but I like to change it up. But yeah, couldn't remember without looking up on the internet how to do that. I think it's Judy's Magic Cast On. That sounds right. So I decided to just cast on with a different ball of yarn. Yes, I remember. Sorry about that. So we had to work through that together. But yeah, so toe up, 1x1 ribbing this time using a twisted stitch there for the knit stitches, which is, in terms of wear, my preferred ribbing, not my favorite for ease of knitting. I definitely think that a 2x2 is a quicker rib, but you know, again, I like to change it up periodically. This, you can see, is one of my sideways toes. If you want to compare those two toes there, you can see clearly the horizontal decrease line there, whereas that is running sort of north-south here. You can kind of see it right there. And then right along the edge there. Again, I just like the way it fits my feet. It creates a slightly rounder toe. And then same style of afterthought heel. Cut in and then knit, I think probably about 14 rounds before decreasing every round. So yeah, my two finished pairs of socks since I last chatted with you. I really love this base. It is an incredibly squishy and soft sock base. We'll see how it wears, right? That's always the ultimate test with sock yarn, kind of more than anything else. But it's really just a joy to knit up, and I'm really excited that I'm gonna get to knit with it again, as I am working on my September sock club socks. I think I'm gonna be casting those on tonight, so I'm really excited about that. But yeah, just a great yarn. This is my, like I said, my Shawset 2 base, right? It's an 85-15 blend, superwash merino and nylon. So theoretically should be pretty sturdy, and honestly it's just a joy to knit with. So yeah, and I really love that stitch definition there. All right, with the twisted rib. So much fun. So yeah, 2 pairs of socks done since I last spoke to you. I also finished up a pair of mittens. It's almost ridiculous to say, yeah, I finished a whole pair of mittens since I last talked to you, when really it took me like maybe 4 hours to knit these mittens from cast on of the first mitten to bind off of the second one, because I knit them out of the bulkiest yarn ever, right? This is Malabrigo Rasta, all right, in the lightning fast mitten pattern, right? You can just kind of compare the size of each stitch on these. Like one stitch in the Malabrigo, I think, is about as tall as 4 rows in the sock yarn, right? So obviously knits up super crazy fast, but I made a pair of mittens for myself for the winter. I was visiting my parents up in Chicago and decided to go hit up a yarn store I hadn't been to before, which was Close Knit, which is in Evanston, if you know Chicago at all. And really adorable, really well curated yarn store, I have to say. Like, I was really impressed with their selection, and just really well taken care of. Yeah, it was awesome, and great place to just sit and work. I sat and knit with the ladies there for about an hour while Mom was running errands and things like that. And yeah, saw a pair of mittens knit up in the Rasta and decided I needed to do that as well. Just a complete impulse buy, impulse project, and I really could not be happier with that impulse. I feel like it's really rare when those sorts of impulses work out well for me. But I'm absolutely obsessed with the way it knit up. It looks like stained glass to me. I really love it. I'm really excited for when it gets cooler too, so I can break these out and get some wear out of them. But I'm really I almost went to my wholesaler and bought a ton of bulky yarn just to play with, right? To add to my shop. I'm still sincerely thinking about adding a bulky base for the winter, because this was just such a satisfying project, and I love everything about these. They're just so cool. They're just, and seriously, it took me an afternoon to make a pair of mittens. Absolute instant gratification knitting, and right, it's just so cute. It's a great pattern, free pattern too on Ravelry. It's the lightning fast mittens. I don't remember who it's by, but free. free. Love it. So yeah, if you can get your hands on some Rasta, highly recommend. Super soft. Because it's a single ply, it'll probably pill, but honestly, I really don't care because I got so much enjoyment out of the knit, and I don't know, they're just so pretty. They're just so pretty. Right? I feel like this would be awesome yarn for a cowl or a hat or anything like that too. Basically any sort of cold weather accessory is going to be fantastic in this yarn. Right? And then I don't remember the name of the colorway. I think it's Anniversario or something like that. It's all in my, I've been working on keeping my Ravelry projects page up to date. So all of the information for this and any other project I show you, you'll be able to find through that. I think last time I was talking to you guys, I showed you this as a whip, but yeah, it's finished. I've been working on knitting up a project in all of my bases, and this was going to be my Alps project, right? My alpaca yarn project. This is a Star Showers cowl, right? Knit out of 100% baby alpaca. This is my Ciel Doré or Golden Sky colorway, and I am in love with it. Like, real talk, just really enjoy the way it knit up. It's really soft, and it's just a really satisfying knit. This is actually the second time I have attempted this pattern. I attempted it once back in the fall and was not paying close enough attention to what I was doing when I was knitting on it, because the construction is a little bit interesting, let's just say. And yeah, did not work, frogged that, and may re-knit in that same yarn, not sure. But when I actually like sat down and was paying attention to what I was doing as I knit it was actually a really straightforward knit. So it's not quite potato chippy. You do have to pay attention to what you're doing, in part because the pattern is worked both on both sides, right? Both knit and purl. So it's a little bit, you have to pay a little more attention. But yeah, I really love the way it knit up. This is the first time I've actually really worn it at all. I'm actually really kind of enjoying it, but I don't know what else to say. I really loved knitting with this base, with my baby alpaca base. So much so that I cast on almost immediately another project in the same base. But yeah, and it's like, wearing it right now, like, it's warm, it's cozy, and it's soft. It's really comfy. I might just leave this on for the rest of the episode for as long as I can anyway. I don't know. I'm like gonna digress a little bit about the yarn. I really love that baby alpaca base, right? I'm not sure if it's because of the fact that it's alpaca or the fact that it's superwash, but it takes dye really differently than my other bases, right? Which are all wool based and all superwash. The colors don't end up quite as deep and saturated, which you would expect from a non-superwash. And when you speckle with it, the speckles don't stay very crisp. They kind of blend out and bleed out a little bit, which can either be frustrating, or if you're aware that's what's going to happen, can be really cool, right? You can play around with it a little bit and get really cool sorts of watercolory effects. Really in love with this alpaca base. I haven't dyed any of my fall colorways on it yet, but I may do that this week. May throw a couple of them into the dye baths, but we'll see. But yeah, so like, I've dyed this colorway up on 3 of my bases, right? On my MCN base, my Loire base, and on the Chaussette base. And it turns out completely differently on each one. And I don't know, I really enjoy the subtle, almost pastel-y colors of the orange, yellow, and blue in this. I just kind of enjoy the way they all kind of work up together, so yeah. I'm feeling pretty pleased with this project. I think I'll keep it. Let's see, whips. Okay, let's go to the second project I almost immediately cast on in this same base. I don't know, I was having kind of like a bummer sort of day a couple weeks ago and decided I was just gonna play around in the dye pots as a way to kind of, I don't know, enjoy myself. And ended up dyeing up two fun sorts of colorways on alpaca. All right, this one is my mûr colorway, which is French for blackberries. And then this one doesn't have a name. It's very similar though to my Monet colorway, right? I changed it up slightly just because I was playing around and wanted to see how it would work, but you can see it's speckled with some blues and greens that kind of break into green and yellow. There's some purple in there and some sort of darker blue-gray color as well. So again, just kind of all, I feel like all bets are off when dyeing on alpaca, or at least on this base. But yeah, it's just really sweet and soft. And I was really in the mood for some brioche and for some new brioche because I have a different brioche shawl already on the needles, but whatever. I wanted to do some selfish knitting. And because I'm in the middle of the row, this is going to be hard to talk to you about. So I'm going to go ahead and take a second and just get to the end of the row. I decided to cast on a new brioche shawl and went exploring on Ravelry for a 2-color brioche shawl in a fingering weight, and there was just nothing that really popped out at me that I really wanted to cast on. So I decided just to make it up, as you do. And yeah, came up with this sort of weird shape. It's eventually going to be kind of a trapezoid shape. But yeah, let's see here. This is basically the long edge, right? So there, you can see a little bit better, right? Long edge, short edge down there, and working diagonally across. And yeah, really love the combination of these two colorways together. And it's so fluffy and so soft. It's just absolute joy in a shawl, like in shawl form. Really excited to finish this and get to wear it. I think I'm gonna get a ton of wear out of this winter. Yeah, it's just so pretty. I love the way the speckles kind of knit up on the alpaca. They're just kind of real subtle. It almost looks like a cloudy sky, right? Oh, I love it. And then I don't know, I just kind of made up the little laddery sort of motif in the brioche. And I really kind of like it, actually. I've been making notes, so we'll see if I end up doing anything with the pattern, whether I just kind of have it for myself or whether, you know, I release it. But I think with this, since it is brioche, it's a little bit more technical. I'm not quite as comfortable with writing patterns in brioche. I think I would actually have to get this one like tech edited and test knit, which I don't do for like my socks, but I do for shawls and things. So yeah, so this would be a little bit longer of a process to release. But oh my goodness, it's so good. It's so much fun. It's so soft. It's everything. I really love this project. And it's super meditative. Sorry, I'm like admiring the shawl on the screen instead of looking at the camera. Yeah, it's super meditative. It's very easy to like memorize the pattern. And so it's just kind of been my favorite shawl or my favorite project for TV knitting. Like better than socks right now for TV knitting. And yeah, the shawl is just like everything I want. I'm gonna have to put it down. It's just so soft. I don't want to. I love this thing. It's so stupid. It's so stupid how excited and how in love I am with this shawl. But I really am. It just makes me really happy. It's such a fun project. It's really gratifying. I think in part because it's mine from start to finish, right? Like it's my yarn. It's yarn I dyed up just for this project, just for myself, kind of no pressure or anything like that. And yeah, I'm just kind of having fun and playing around with the pattern, and I'm like challenging myself with a new thing. I've never designed a brioche, like 2-color brioche before. But yeah, just a lot of fun. Just kind of exactly what I've been needing out of my knitting. If you're curious about 2-color brioche, I cannot recommend it enough. It takes a minute to wrap your mind around, right? Especially if you are, if you've never done it before, right? Because it's not quite normal, right? The sequencing of movements and things like that, it's not like normal knitting. The way you manage what row you're on and things like that, but there are some awesome tutorials out there on YouTube. My favorite one is from Mina of the Knitting Expat. I think I've mentioned Mina twice now. But yeah, she's got an excellent 2-color brioche tutorial that's really clear, I think. I found it clear. It's kind of how I learned how to do it. So yeah, it's definitely doable for, well, mostly yay brioche, because I did have a little bit of a fail with my other brioche shawl or scarf project since I last spoke to you. I've been working on this scarf for my mom for a while now, but I'm getting close. I'm probably 60% done. Right? It's nice and long now. You can see I'm kind of going nuts with the colors on this. What to tell you about this one. I'm making it up as I go as well. Although the motif in the brioche here is based off of the Candy Leaves hat that I knit last year. You can find it on Ravelry. It is a paid for pattern and it is not my own design. Slightly modified, turned it into something flat instead of in the round. But I've been having fun kind of striping in 2 different colors on the dark side. Right? So I've got Door County, what is it? Door County Socks, I think, in the Door Horizon colorway. And then this is some Manos del Uruguay, Allegria, and I don't remember the name of the colorway. I am the worst. Again, Ravelry project page, that's where all that information is. And then the light color is some Mad Tosh Light in the Cosmic Wonder Dust colorway. You can see it's just kind of neutral yarn or bare yarn speckled with some awesome sort of crazy bright fluorescent colors. Right, and so I have just been working on this, just doing a scarf for my mom. She requested a big cozy squishy scarf. She spends a couple months of the year out in Colorado every year and wants something to keep her warm as it's already getting a little bit chilly out there. And knitting along, this has gotten very intuitive for me. I've been doing this for a while, blah, blah, blah. A little bit of knitting hubris. I am somehow all caught up on my needles with my yarn. I may have gotten frustrated and just jammed it in the project bag, so things get a little tangled. But yeah, everything looks great, right? Except, what is this? What is that? I know exactly what it is. I wasn't paying attention. I did an extra set of increases here instead of decreases, right? And then figured, well, whatever, I'll just drop the extra and then hopefully it'll spread out with blocking or whatever, and I'll do the decrease like normal, like I'm supposed to, and it'll all be fine. No, it's not. There is a lot of yarn that goes into every brioche stitch, and that was just too much for this. Like, look, it just kind of pops up off the fabric. Right? It just kind of sits up on top of the yarn like that. It's not good. All right, I've got another little weirdness thing happening over on this side too. So I'm just gonna have to rip back and fix it. So yeah, this one's been kind of put back into, not quite hibernation, but it's been put on the back bench, let's say, for the last about week or so, until I gather up the courage to rip back in brioche, which is not a fun thing to do. I think I'm gonna have to find some YouTube tutorials for good ways to do that, as I'm not quite confident enough of a brioche knitter to just, rip back and stick the needle back in with, without a real serious game plan. Sorry, I'm like thinking in my mind, what could I maybe take like another pair of needles and just kind of thread that through. It's going to take some practice. It's going to take some concentration. So yeah, brioche can definitely attack. So I don't want to give any false impressions that I'm just like some amazing brioche knitter who has no worries when it comes to knitting brioche. You know, I can whip things out and come up with new designs and everything is great all the time. No, no, no. I definitely suffer from knitting hubris from time to time and don't pay attention when I need to, and then mess up my projects. Whatever. It's fixable, it's doable, and it's for my mom, so she has to love me, even if there are mistakes in the scarf, right? Ugh. Knitting. It's okay. The other thing I wanted to say, like, when I first was working on this was like the softest project I had going, right? It would kind of be like my comfort, cozy sort of whip. If I needed something soft to work on or something, I wanted something cozy to hold and, just enjoy the entire knitting experience, right? This would be what I pulled out. And then after knitting on the alpaca, I pulled this out and I swear it felt like I was knitting on the West Yorkshire spinners, right? Like on a workhorse sock yarn. This is spoiling me. It's spoiling me for other yarns, right? Oh, the alpaca. Why is it so soft? Oh, it's making me sleepy. Okay. It's like a baby blanket. It's making me sleepy. It's not good. Back in the bag. I will fix this. I will finish it. Mom's birthday is September 17th. So my goal is to have it done by then. So that gives me about a month. Gives me about 5 weeks. So if I'm diligent, which I'm not gonna be because I'm me, and that's just not how I work, it'll get done. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. Keep your fingers crossed for me. Send me positive, diligent vibes. I can actually get this done and fixed. We'll see. What else? The other project, the other whip that I wanted to talk to you guys about, is my placemats. So I mentioned at the beginning of the summer that I wanted to knit some placemats for my house, for my dining room table, because I actually don't have any like hand knit home decor at all in my house, which is amazing considering I've been knitting for over a decade. Yeah, like it's all been mostly all for me, if I'm being completely honest. I don't do a ton of gift knitting because I'm selfish. No, mostly because I have a hard time actually finishing projects that are gifts. Obligation knitting is not fun knitting and I just don't do it. Yeah, I decided to remedy that by, or the lack of hand knit items around my house, by making some placemats. And so I swatched up some yarn that I got for this project. Let's see here. I grabbed some balls that I haven't dipped into just yet because I've got the ball bands on them. So I went with Knit Picks Cotton, right, which is a cotton linen blend, as the name would suggest. It is 70% cotton, 30% linen, and it's a DK weight. Right, and I went with these 4 colors. So we've got linen, really? Yeah, linen. Right, just like a neutral oatmeal-y kind of color. We've got Swan, which is my white. Planetarium is the dark blue, navy kind of color. And then this is Raindrop, right? This gray sort of light to medium blue, right? So I knit up a couple swatches. I wasn't sure what technique I was going to do, if I was going to do something that was double knit, if I was going to do mosaic knitting, or just like a standard knit purl slip stitch kind of motif. So I tried a couple things out, ran them past Jordan, and we both just like actually agreed on the same swatch. So I knit it up. loved the swatch. We really liked it. Discovered that I liked both sides of the stitch motif as well, but was having an issue with figuring out how to weave in the ends in a way that would be both discreet and not make me want to rip my hair out. And so I was having a hard time coming up with an answer, right? Because it just wasn't obvious to me. And then, so I put the project to the side for about 6 weeks, like really just kind of, it's been hanging out next to my sofa in my knitting basket, and that's about it. And then all of a sudden at the beginning of last week, no, it was Friday, it was like 3 days ago, I just had an epiphany of what I needed to do. Maybe it was all the brioche knitting, but, so I'm gonna show you what I've got so far. Right, I'm halfway through, maybe a third through my first placemat. You can see I'm making fringe on either side. I've got little tassels that I'm gonna trim down once I get it done. I'll trim these back a little bit. But yeah, I asked you guys what I should do when I showed you guys the swatch, and I got a couple answers being, you know, of yeah, just leave the ends out, make some fringe on it, and be good. You know, just kind of be done with it. Except the issue was, with the way I had been knitting it, all of the ends were on the exact same side, right? Because, as you can tell from the garter stitch border I've been doing, right, you use each color for 2 rows. So you start and stop on the same side, right? But, if you could tell, what I decided to do is basically just after every color, slide the needle back to the other side, right? So I'll do, for example, I did 1 row in navy to cast on, did 2 rows in white, so right side, wrong side, and then I started the navy, or the middle blue, on the wrong side, did the motif across but backwards. I took some mental gymnastics, and then knit across the right side. So you essentially do, you know, right side, wrong side, wrong side, right side, wrong side, wrong side, right? Kind of like you're doing brioche, but not quite. And so that way I could end up with fringe on either side, right? Which so far is working out all right. Like I said, I'm going to trim them down. I'm not sure I love the fact that I've got my blues on one side and my neutrals on the other. It's not exactly awesome, but you know, could be worse. I'm thinking I might change up the order of the stripes and things like that. So like with every, I'll do 2 placemats in every kind of order. So maybe that'll help keep it interesting. But yeah, it takes a little bit of mental gymnastics, like I said. But I really love the way it's knitting up. So yeah, I do a couple stitches in garter, which also involves like, so it'll be 2 rows of knit, 2 rows of purl, 2 rows of knit, 2 rows of purl, in order for it to get to look like garter stitch, which you can see I kind of messed up at the beginning down here. I wasn't quite sure how to make that work. But yeah, and then the wrong side I actually really enjoy too. Right? How cool is that? So I'm feeling pretty pleased with myself. I'm not gonna lie. I am feeling pretty pleased with, I mean, it's an obvious solution perhaps, but I feel pleased that I kind of came up with it myself. I found a solution to my problem, so I can actually do the project that I wanted to. So that's really exciting to me. Yeah, so hooray, hooray, hooray. I can actually continue with my placemats. I had a couple questions on Instagram about whether or not there's a pattern. There's not. Again, I'm just kind of winging it, but I'd be happy to write one up. It's really, really straightforward. So I don't know that it's even worth necessarily writing up, but yeah. Let me know if you guys want it and I'll write it up for you. Yeah, so again, I'm on placemat 1 of 8. This is going to be an ongoing project. for sure. But yeah, so they are, I want to say they are currently, they're 16 inches long. Although, yeah, I'll probably keep it blocked out that way too. We've got some placemats on the table now that are, I think, 18 and a half, which are a little bit longer, but I figured with the fringe on them, this might be a better size. Plus, I don't know, everybody's got their little things. I hate when placemats overlap a little bit. And if I've got a placemat on like the ends of the table and along the side, they do, the corners overlap, and that just kind of bugs me a little bit. So I figured shrinking them down just a smidge may help my little ridiculous compulsion there. Compulsion's a strong word for it. I'm not trying to minimalize anything, but yeah, it's a little thing that bugs me, and I can solve that. So, well, at least a little bit. So yeah, that's it. That is what I've got to talk to you guys about in terms of knitting projects this week. And looks like we're at least on my counter, 48 minutes. I'm probably editing some things out, so we're probably closer to like 45. I think that's plenty of knitting content for now. So let's talk yarn. Let's talk shop update. I've got another update coming up this week. It'll be on the 11th. Sorry, again, checking my calendar. It's this square right above where you can actually see. But yeah, shop updates are Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, I've got some really cool autumn colorways to share with you. I'm really excited about. I live for this time of year. I am not a warm weather person, not even a little bit. I blame genetics, as I am basically half Swiss and half Swedish. My people are of the mountains. I do not do well in warm weather. Whatever, I'm whining, it's fine. But I am happiest when the weather dips below 60 degrees, right? 65 and below, I'm good to go. I'm happy with really long stretches of cold winter weather, right? I get to pull out all my hand knits. It makes me happy. It's fine. Granted, you know, when it gets warmer in the spring, that's exciting, but whatever. I'm over it. I'm over summer. I'm ready for fall. Like, I think most knitters. I did not realize there was going to be a rant about summer. Oh. Anyway, I also really like fall colors, right? They just kind of, it's my happy place, right? Dark, rich, warm sorts of colors, browns and oranges and navy and purple and all that kind of stuff, right? This is where I'm happy. So, I'm really excited. I got some stuff to show you. I'm going to start with my tonals. So, let's see here. Two brand new tonals, right? I've got Merlot, right, which is this nice warm purpley red, right, that I really enjoy, right? You can see it's definitely tonal. There's some like light and dark variation in there. I've got it dyed up here on my MCN base on Loire. I've also got some already dyed up on Chaussette as well. So there's a couple skeins that are ready to ship, but typically my tonals are dyed to order. To be honest though, they're dyed to order because I can dye them up very quickly and ship them out to you with the rest of any order, right? They're just they're not as time intensive as my other colorways. So yeah, so dyed to order on any base you want. Really love this. I'll show it to you paired with some other stuff in a minute. All right. The next one here is on my Chaussette base, which is why it's got the white ties on it, which is what comes from the manufacturer, from the wholesaler. I don't know what fiber they use, but it just does not react to acid dyes. Anyway, it's a whole lot of an aside. This is sable, or sable, right, which is French for sand. And yeah, just a really nice, warm, sort of like a light to medium beige color, right? Which I'm kind of amazed I didn't already have in my repertoire, as it is one of my go-to colors in my wardrobe and just kind of generally in life. But yeah, it took me a couple tries actually to find the right warm beige that I wanted, right? First of all, Love those two together. That is an amazing combo that I somehow hadn't already seen. All right, Merlot and Sabre. It's good stuff. Another tonal. I reworked some of my tonals. I've got Mûr, which I already told you guys I'm using on my alpaca base or my alpaca shawl. Right here it is on Chaussette again, which is, yeah, French for blackberries. It's this really dark, almost like a purpley navy, right? Really dark blue purple, right? Those are really gorgeous together, right? I kind of want a sweater out of this, but I already have like 5 sweaters with this combination of colors, so I'm gonna hold myself back. That I love too. That's really good. I reworked Dijon, right? My mustardy yellow color, in a way that I'm hoping will be a little bit more consistent from skein to skein. My previous combination of colors that went into it, I was getting some that were a little bit browner, some that were a little more yellow, and so I just decided to rework it, and I'm kind of enjoying this. It's got, I mean, it's definitely a little bit mustardy, but then you get these pops where it's just like a really nice light sunny yellow color too. Right? That is kind of awesome. It's not bad there. This is another kind of happy place. I dyed up some slate roof too. I don't have it in front of me though, but the Dijon still works really well with slate roof, I gotta say. But yeah, happy fall tonals, very good. Let's see here. Let's do the variegated colorways first. So I've got 2 new just variegated colorways, right? No speckles. The first one is Douillette, which is French for cozy, like cozy, the adverb or adjective, right? And I dyed it up kind of inspired by this big plaid wool blanket that my mom had growing up, right, while I was growing up, which is like the randomest thing to take inspiration from, right? I'm being completely honest, but right, it was just this really awesome cozy plaid blanket that sat on the back of our couch for years that was like navy and plummy purple and orange and white. So I decided, right, that that's kind of what I needed in a fall colorway, and I'm really, really excited to see how this knits up. Really excited to see how this knits up. Yeah, I just think it's gonna be gorgeous, and it's, you know, it's dark and moody like a fall colorway should be, but then you'll get that bright pop of orange in there too. So good. Yeah, just to toot my horn a little bit, I just think this is gonna be absolutely gorgeous. Just knit up in anything, right? So yeah, Douillette for cozy, because of that cozy blanket from my childhood. Go, twist that back up, nice and happy. I mean, look at the way those colors play together. I love that. Oh, so good. All right, if you want to go like a subtle combo, beginning of a fade or something, love it with Mûr. All right. The second one, I kind of wanted one that was a little bit more, I don't know, a little more muted. So something similar to Douillette, but just kind of playing around with it a little bit more. So what I did was I swapped out the navy and replaced it with 2 different browns, right? To just keep it very warm, very earthy. Right, I don't have a name for this one yet. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna call it, but it is just so warm and cozy. Right? See, it's got those oranges, it's got this brown in there. There are areas where the brown and that sort of ruddy purple overlapped and kind of gives us this nice maroony color. And then the purple stays somewhat more true in spots. Oh, I love this one too, right? So, love this. Very fall, very both bright and dark and moody. Again, it's kind of a theme for my tonals or my variegated colorways at the moment. Love these. So 2 of those. I've got a couple that are both variegated and speckled. I'll start with coq au vin, right, which is one of my favorite sort of French comfort food dishes. It's like a chicken stew cooked in red wine with mushrooms and onions and all sorts of good stuff. At least that's my version. So it's got this kind of dark red wine colorway and a really pale kind of goldish beige, speckled with green, and it kind of breaks in a bunch of different colors. It's really cool. But yeah, it's a little bit green. There are parts where it speckles red and yellow and just kind of cool and interesting, right? So coq au vin. Again, I've got this, currently I've only got this dyed up on my MCN base. I may dye it up also on chaussettes this week, but I actually kind of really enjoy those 2 together. I think they complement each other well. The other one doesn't have a name yet, and I'm kind of amazed that I haven't created, like, this is new, right? But it is navy and oatmeal, my favorite color combo. So I think I've mentioned at least 100 times on the podcast. But yeah, so it's white, it's like a cream and a beige and a navy swirled together, right? Variegated, right? The navy kind of becomes light blue. There are parts where they overlap. It's really nice. I really enjoy it. And then I speckled one side with navy, so it'll have some light navy speckling as well. All right, really love this colorway. Doesn't have a name yet. So I've got 2 colorways to name this week, these 2. But part of it is I dyed these 2 up to fill in some gaps, to begin to do some fades, right? And I just kind of love those 3 together, right? Could be a pretty awesome. This actually could be a really cool so faded sweater, right? A 3-color faded sweater, really cute. Love that. Also, these 2 just go together so well. Just kind of moving from one to the next. That makes me really happy. Really love that for like a 3-color shawl project or something. Another, woo, I'm getting all cute and fancy here and I'm making a mess. Another one, right? Another warm, pale, sort of beige. I'm all about beige right now, like, to be honest. Just excited about warm colors. Yeah, it's kind of the sandy color with navy and burgundy and orange speckles kind of through half of it, so lightly speckled on top of a really nice warm pale base. Calling this one is Autumn Afternoon, right? So you can see like there are parts where it's not very speckled, other parts highly speckled, right? So you get a little bit of everything as you're knitting it through. Right? Love the way it transitions really nicely. Sorry, really just enjoy those speckles really, really a lot right now. But yeah, nice sort of like a lighter fall colorway. Really like that one. Again, I've got it on MCN and sock. Right, moire and chaussettes. Here we go. Twist that back up. And again, plays really nicely with mûre, right? With blackberry. Go more subtle for a shawl or something like that. Could be really cool with sab, and even looks good with merlot. Just saying. I actually kind of like that with Dijon as well. It's kind of cool. 2 more. This one, highly speckled, because I've got to have a highly speckled colorway all the time. This one is feuille morte, which is French for dead leaves. But it sounds so pretty in French, right? Feuille morte. But yeah, I mean, basically it is just hardcore speckling of all of the colors that you'll find in fallen leaves. So there's some like dark dark brown, sort of dark purple, red, orange, yellow, and even some bright green kind of hidden in there as well. Right, just kind of all layered all over each other. Right, just gorgeous. I love this. Again, pairs really nicely with all, if it's not getting washed out, all of the different tonals. Gives you a lot of different options. Right, real subtle with that. Right, and grab a couple together. That's pretty great. I even like it with this new one. Kind of a fantastic combo. Let's do that and add in blackberry. That's kind of awesome. Just go throw that out there. There. Not so washed. Right? Pretty good. And then the last one I really kind of enjoy. It makes, I don't know, it just kind of makes me smile. I'm calling this one cidre or cider. So this really pale gold color, right? Really, really, really light yellow. And then it's speckled with, I've got it all written down downstairs, these pops of really pale sort of ochre and bright red. And then there's like a darker kind of dark, like a brown red, like a maroon, speckled all over it. Right, just kind of light and fun, really pretty. All right, great with Merlot. Cidre is, in fact, nice with Mûr. And then what was the combo that I had that I was surprised by? Oh yeah, it is surprisingly good there too. Right? Kind of like that as well. So yeah, I was playing around this morning coming up with like different fades, right? Like the Find Your Fade. I think Andrea Mowry's got another one. What the Fade, the So Faded Sweater, right? It's kind of like a theme, a trend right now in the knitting community. So I was playing around on Instagram with a couple different fades using this palette that I've got in front of me. So 7 skeins is a lot to hold up at once. I'm going to try it and we'll see how badly I fail. So let's see if we can go from, Mûr to Merlot, right? We've got these as our endpoints. Let's see. I can do Mûr to Douillet, go there to new one, right? Already loving that. You can see we're getting a little less moody as we go. Go to Sable, then, I may actually be able to make this work off the top of my head. There to Autumn Afternoon, so we are at 5. Go to, we can go straight into here, it's not bad, or we go on these, either or. I'm just going that to there. All right, that's kind of nice, I enjoy that. Even go like that and cut out Merlot. But I could sit here and just play with them forever. But I mean, really, I do appreciate that this is a very cohesive batch of colorways right now. So you can really mix and match them quite well. Other things to be aware of in the shop. I'm doing some holiday mini skein sets. So I'm doing 3 different ones. I'm doing an advent calendar, which is the big one, 12 days of Christmas, and then I'm also doing a happy Hanukkah one that I got some requests for. So 24 minis, 12 minis, or 8 minis, right? They're all going to be 20 gram mini skeins. I was debating doing some 10 gram mini skeins, but I don't know. I find a 20 gram mini to be more useful. But yeah, so I'm going to do that on 2 different bases. It's offered currently on both my Chaussette and my Loire base, these same 2 that I keep talking about, MCN and sock yarn. And what else? I'm really excited. I've got this plan of how I'm going to wrap them all up. I've already got all of my materials for that. And I've wrapped them up really sweetly. And that way you get a surprise, right? You can either open them up all at once, right? As you know, you may want to do, or if you want to spread them out and actually do, you know, open them up over, you know, the 8 nights of Hanukkah or 12 days of Christmas or every day during Advent, right? So you've got options there. No surprise will be given away in advance. And with, yeah, for the Happy Hanukkah one, it's 8 skeins, 8 mini skeins, 12 days of Christmas, 12 minis. And then the Advent calendar is 24 minis plus one full size skein, right? If you order before Friday the 11th, you will get the early bird pricing, which is going to be, I want to say at least 10%. I think it's like a 10% off coupon, essentially built into the pricing. That sounds great. Numbers don't stick in my head. I have this all written down and planned out. But yeah, so that is going on. So there are signups left for all of them currently, but signups are limited, mostly because it's a lot of yarn to dye, and there's not going to be overlap between the 3 different sets. So that is a lot of yarn to dye. That is, let's see if I can do this real quick on my own. So 24 and 8 is 32. 32 plus 12 is 44. That is 44 different colorways that I have to come up with. I'm super excited to be taking this on. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be a lot of secret dyeing though that I can't share with you, which is gonna be a little crazy. But I'm excited too, because like some of them are gonna be holiday related colorways, right? But some of it's just gonna be, you know, any sort of experimental colorway that I like will end up in there. So that's, I'm looking forward as a project for myself, but it's a lot of different colorways to develop. It's a lot of yarn to dye, and it's a lot of packaging and stuff like that. So like I said, signups are definitely limited on those. I think there may only be like 3 spots left for the Loire base in the Advent calendar, right? Like, signups are limited and they are already being taken up. So if you are interested in this, definitely take advantage of that early bird pricing as well. They will all ship out by middle to end of October. So they'll arrive to you, fingers crossed, with plenty of time for the holidays. Basically, it gives the Postal Service all of all of November to get them to you. So fingers crossed that that actually happens and works out according to plan. On their end. I'm good. That's shipping out on a very specific date already on my calendar. What else? The sock clubs are coming back. I took July and August off from the sock clubs, mostly because not everyone is a crazy obsessive summer knitter. Let's be honest. And because I haven't been around very much, so there is that as well. Real talk. So yeah, I've already dyed up the colorway for September. Really excited about it. I've been sketching out some ideas for the pattern. And what can I tell you? It's a tonal base with speckles. It is light speckles, right? Kind of the lighter style of speckling, not everything speckled. It is a warm color palette. Being as vague as I can be. Yeah, definitely very warm, very beginning of autumn to me, right? When I think of like beginning autumn, it's kind of that kind of palette. So yeah, I'm excited. I think it's gonna be really good. I'm gonna have it just available on my chaussette base, right? Just on the sock base. It is a sock club. That is my intent with this yarn. So I don't want to put it on any base that I'm not sure is going to knit up and wear as a good sock, right? Like, I've had issues personally, not with this MCN base, but with MCN socks in the past, not holding up quite as well. And I haven't knit any socks yet out of my polwarth base, which I don't actually have any dyed up at the moment to show you, but it's 100% wool. It doesn't have any nylon in it. And while I don't have an issue with that in terms of the way those wear, Some people do. So anyway, long explanation for why it's just going to be the one base. But yeah, so with the sock clubs, it's a mystery colorway. You'll have, that's as many hints as I'm going to give, plus a sock pattern. And yeah, those will ship out by the end of August, so that they will get to you in time for September. So yeah, signups for that will also be available in this week's shop update. Spots are going to be limited as always. You know, honestly, just to keep things manageable for myself, I want to make sure that I am shipping on you know, things get out to you in a reasonable amount of time, right? And that I'm not overcommitting myself or anything like that, right? Like, my job is to keep you happy. Honestly. Trying to think if there's anything else going on in the shop that I need to tell you about. I think those are the big things. Holiday minis, sock club, all of this awesome autumnal happiness and joy. Like, seriously, looking at this just makes my heart sing. But yeah, I guess that's on to blather then. So Friday the 11th, 8 p.m. Eastern. Throwing that out there again. Link down below. Yeah, I'm in a really good mood. I have been for like the last week. I mentioned I took a break from social media, mostly Instagram. Not sure if you follow me on Instagram or not. I did kind of announce the reasons why over there. But basically, yeah, I've had 2 miscarriages since December and just kind of needed to walk away from Instagram and all of the baby bumps and, you know, pregnancy announcements and things like that, right? Because while, you know, I don't begrudge anyone their happiness and their luck and their joy, because it is just such an exciting and wonderful thing. Like, it was just, it hurt seeing that every time. It's just like a reminder of like, hey, by the way, remember those 2 sad events that happened? Let's just think about those now for a little bit. Right? This was about 3 weeks ago that I did this. I was gone for about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks from Instagram. So just kind of gave myself some distance, some permission to not be on top of things and take care of myself. So I'm feeling good. No worries about that. And I wanted to say, like, the reason I even announced my reason why I was taking a social media break on Instagram was part of what's been so hard about going through this is the loneliness of it, right? Like yeah, me and Jordan are a great team, but he's like the only person I talk to about it, and it's not something we want to constantly be talking about. You know, like, it's just, it's sad and it's stressful. And while, like, statistically, this is not an uncommon experience, nobody ever talks about it, right? So it just feels really taboo, and I'm sick of it, and I don't want to feel like I have to hide this, especially since it's something that goes on. So I'm not announcing this because, you know, oh, woe is me, and I want you guys to feel sorry for me, because don't. It's okay. Like, it's life, and everything is fine, you know? But I also kind of want to make sure other people realize, like, hey, you're not alone if this is something that's happened to you too, right? Like, this actually happens a lot, and, you know, maybe we should actually feel comfortable talking about it, you know, because it's not exactly an easy thing to go through. So there is that. So if you've gone through this as well, like, I feel you, right? This sucks, but things work out one way or another. Things will work out. But yeah, so there's that side of things. You know, I've talked about my struggles with anxiety and depression. I'm seeing a new therapist. I have been for about over a month, 6 weeks now, almost 2 months, and she's great. Like, the method we're trying out is really working for me. It's been kind of liberating, kind of fun. Yeah, again, I don't announce these things to, like, make you feel sorry for me or whatever. It's more, again, I know I'm not the only person who deals with this stuff. So if you need somebody to talk to about this sort of stuff, like, send me a message. I'm happy to chat. you know? Like, you're not alone, I'm not alone, we've got this, right? We're in this together. But yeah, that's all kind of falling in line, like coming back, you know, turning a corner, all that good stuff. And what else? Jordan comes home this week from Ithaca. He's been gone teaching for the last 6 weeks. And yeah, I kind of took this 6 weeks with him gone as a chance to kind of focus on me in a way. You know, take care of myself, do a lot of self-care, basically, right? I am fully on keto, this diet that's real low carb, high fat, right? It's a weird kind of diet, but right, it works well for me. I've been doing a lot of yoga. Like I said, I'm seeing this new therapist. I'm doing all this sort of stuff, and I'm excited. You know, life is good. So yeah, I don't know. Things are good again. Life is a lot less stressful than it had been. Like the past year since we moved here has just kind of been a crazy roller coaster. And yeah, I don't know, I'm feeling refreshed and rejuvenated and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, I feel like I've got a handle on everything that's happening, and I'm just really excited to put this positive energy back into the podcast and into the dyeing and the business and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, I apologize if I've been low energy for like the last several months, but you know, things were rough. And it's hard to fake a lot of pep and energy without coming across as a crazy person or really insincere. But yeah, like, oh, this is so much like actual personal real talk. But again, like I don't know, I'm on a one-woman crusade to make this less weird and taboo. We'll see if you guys all abandon me, and you know, if you want to, that's totally cool. We'll see if this works or not. I don't know. Just kind of like got my little platform. I'm gonna use it. But yeah, so that's what's been going on with me. When I'm back from all of my various little hibernations, and yeah, trying to think. Layla's just making a mess. Hey, friend. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and take her knocking things over and demanding attention as a sign that it's time to wrap this episode up. So, all of this to say, happy knitting, bon tricot, and I will see you again next week. Bye.